If you've ever listened to the EntreMD podcast and thought, wow, this episode changed the way I think about my business, I want you to imagine multiplying that by 10,000. That's what happens at EntreMD Live. It's not just another conference. It's a powerful, physician-only room where we roll up our sleeves and build the kind of businesses that create freedom, not frustration. We're diving into how to build a dominant brand, how to grow a profitable team, how to use AI to accomplish more by doing less, and how to create a business that generates your next million in revenue without sacrificing your health or family. It's happening June 7th in Atlanta. And if you're a doctor who's starting out or scaling to multiple seven figures, this room was built for you. If you've gotten value from this podcast, you need to be in that room. And don't come alone. Share this with the doctors in your world. We rise together. This is the EntreMD movement. Go to www.entremd.com/live to grab your tickets today. This is an event to not miss.
If you're not using AI, we'll not hire you. Because in my world, as a developer, AI will increase your productivity 30 to 40%. I'm not going to go and hire somebody that's operating at 100%. I need 130 to 140. That's what I'm paying for.
Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. This is going to be a very super exciting one because I have a special guest on here, and you guys know I'm very careful about the guests I bring on the EntreMD podcast. And we're going to talk about something that we haven't talked on the podcast yet, which is artificial intelligence. And you get to figure out a little bit about why I haven't talked too much about it. But I have brought someone who is phenomenal at the use of AI, someone who is a serial entrepreneur on for us to have this conversation. And we're really going to talk about, the way I think we should be thinking about AI, because you hear this come up a lot in this episode, which is, I think it is some of the greatest leverage we'll have will be found in AI, but also it's one of the biggest distractions, biggest time sucks, and a disadvantage for many people, really. So this is going to be so great. The ROI on this conversation will blow your mind. My guest today is Nnamdi Chineme. Nnamdi, I was about to say Dr. Nnamdi because I interview doctors for the most part. So we give you an honorary doctorate.
I'll take it.
You'll take it? Okay. Nnamdi, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, let the people know why I'm so excited that you're on today.
My name is Nnamdi Chineme. I'm a tech guy with a lot of business wrapped around it. So I run a consulting firm that helps transform businesses and their operations, predominantly using technology. We do a lot sometimes we build custom software for people, or we just show them how to use existing software that is out there. Already AI is a big, not to say buzzword because it's not just a buzz, but AI is out there right now. And that's one of the greatest tools in today's world to use to optimize your processes and get a lot of return on your investment.
Well, I'm all for it because that's what we're going to talk about today. But tell us how long you've been an entrepreneur for, because I was thinking about it today and I couldn't remember. Do you start before I did, or how long?
That's a good question. Where are we starting from? Are we starting from
Parkway? Wow. Yeah.
Probably before then. I tried I tried something before then where I built software for the clinics. It was those were off. I was such a naive at that point when I was building stuff, but you get a lot of learning from that. So that's probably 2002, maybe.
Yeah, you've been an entrepreneur for a really long time, man.
2002.
Okay. So serial entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur, really genius at operational efficiency. And that's one of the things I've really known you for. And so, yeah, we're gonna talk about this whole AI thing. And of course, everybody in America loves your accents because, we're all about the British accent here. But okay. So I personally have held off on having the conversation about AI for a really long time. And a huge reason for that is because I have seen people go down rabbit holes, blow weeks and months of, times that they should have been working on their businesses. And they use this time, to study 3,000 different tools that they're not doing anything with. And I'm like, OMG, stop, But that doesn't mean we don't use it, right? So talk to me about what you think is the right attitude people should have towards AI?
There are two extremes, right? You've got the one extreme where is people that would they're just ignoring it. It's like, yeah, it sounds like a buzz, it's hype, it will die out. That's not going to happen. AI is here. AI is changing industries. AI is revolutionizing businesses and giving people great ROI on their investments. So AI is not going anywhere. You then have people who, like you said, get into that rabbit hole and they're just spending hours on hours researching AIs, trying different tools, etc. I think there's somewhere in the middle, right? Where people, rather than spend all that time, start simple, right? So for example, when I'm speaking to people, I say, well, you want to get into AI, it's quite confusing. You've got this urge to try and research everything before you come up with how do you use it in your business. I'm like, just stop, right? Get a basic tool, pay for it, and start using it potentially in your personal life. So the way I look at AI is AI gives us a lot of information, right? Prior to AI, I would have to go and do a whole lot of research. So we might go on Google, we're trying to figure out something. We have a question that we want to answer. I don't know. How do I buy a new blender? Let's use that as an example. You go on to Google, you start searching, you ask it a question, what are the great blenders out there? You've got 100 articles that you might need to comb through to figure out the different things. You start to get confused. Eventually, you figure something out, maybe 3-4 hours down the line, right? What AI does for us today is AI takes all of that stress away from us. So you ask it a question, it has access to the internet. It goes on the internet, it gathers all that information, does all that analysis that you have done over 4 hours for itself, and gives you a summary. And the brilliant thing about it is that response that it's giving you is most likely quite personalized to you because you've asked the question in your own way. You've asked it with requirements that are applied to you, and it can respond to you and give you great tailored responses to yourself. So AI is absolutely powerful and a great tool that everyone, I think, should be using. But again, start small and try and use it in your personal life and see how you get along, get comfortable with it, and then you can start progressing from there into your business and maybe giving it more complex things. But at least at that time, you've got a good understanding of how it works.
What's your favorite tool? I know there's no standard answer to that, but maybe 70% of the time, what is the favorite tool that you recommend people start with?
ChatGPT. I think it's got a good, in terms of, so you've got, in the AI world, you've got horizontal AI, which is sort of like your generalist AI. It's good at a lot of things. And then you've got your vertical AI as well that are very specific about. So you might have AIs that are good at creating headshots, AIs that are good at deep research. But ChatGPT is a simple one that can help you. It's a more general tool and it's easy to, I think the reason why I prefer it is just the interface is quite easy to use. Whereas some of the other AI tools, are a bit more confusing. So I'll say ChatGPT is probably the best option.
Someone might be thinking about it, like use it in my personal life, and they may be thinking I'll use it the same way I use Google, right? So can you help somebody kind of make that transition? Because it's a little more than what a Google search could do. So, and many people think about it like, I don't even know how I would use it, right? Can you give some like simple, scenarios of this is how you can use it for things you're already doing, but you can start outsourcing this to AI?
Yeah, so okay, I'll give you an example, my own example. When I started, it was a bit of a shock when I started using it to see what it could actually do. So my kids homeschool, and when they were about to start homeschooling, I needed to buy headsets that they can use for classes because they still go to classes, but their classes are online. So I needed to get them headsets. And there I was thinking, okay, I need to get them headsets. What do I need to think about, right? I needed to have some noise cancelling. So if someone is screaming at home, it doesn't get through and get into their classes. If we wanted them to go and sit down in a cafe and have their classes, I don't want noise from outside to come in. So I had all these requirements and I went searching. It took me about 4 hours, I think, to come up with a headset that met the requirements for me, right? I bought 2 of them for my 2 kids and I carried on. This was before I actively started using AI. I had them installed on my laptop, but for some reason, I was going down my old path, which is the default is open a browser, you go to Google and you search, you do all the research. I went through probably about 20 websites, maybe about 5 or 6 YouTube videos. So that's the process I went through. And then I started using ChatGPT. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to ask ChatGPT to answer to the question to find me headsets that meet that particular requirement. And I gave you all the details. I want them to be able to use in a cafe, XYZ, da, da, da. And in 2 seconds, it gave me a list of 6 headsets. The one I picked was the second one on the list.
Wow.
So that's 4 hours versus 2 seconds. Maybe it took me about 30 seconds to write it. So let's just say 1 minute, right? But again, 4 hours to 1 minute. And it was right there in front of me. It actually gave me a few videos to go and videos I could watch about that headset. So I'm like, wow, okay, this is changing the game. Yes, this is definitely changing the game.
That is wild. And if you think about that, because the reason why I asked you that question is because we do these things by default. We have a certain way of going after
Absolutely.
information we need to get, whether that is planning a vacation, or in your case, a headset you want to do, or comparing to schools, or, some tool thing for like even menus, like what am I going to eat? What are my options? I have these things in my fridge. What could I make with them? I don't want to go shopping, right? And when you think about all those things, there's so many hours that we spend. So for instance, you're talking about saving 4 hours on one search. So think about it. If we did that every day for a month, that's 120 hours.
Exactly.
That is a ridiculous number of hours, right? Like, and so the amount of time saving that can be done is so mind blowing.
It's incredible.
And once you start, then what you're doing is you've created a pattern interrupt that you're no longer just thinking, oh, if I want something, go search for Google, but I have to analyze it and I have to come up with the questions. I have to do everything. To now I have an assistant who can kind of do these things and I can save all this time. Once you see the pattern, once you start functioning that way, it becomes the new Google search. And so in your business, you start functioning the same way. So it's super powerful. So let me tell you one of the things that concerns me about AI, this is one of the reasons I didn't talk about it till I fully developed what I consider is the responsible way and the safe way to use AI. One of the things is after you ask it questions for so long, it becomes like this pillar of information that is never wrong. So it's almost like we no longer trust ourselves and our judgment and our dreams and what we really want done and all of this. And we start outsourcing our original thoughts to AI, right? And so I tell people, I'm like, oh my goodness, like you're the visionary. You're the one giving it direction. It's your assistant. Like you can't reverse those roles. It takes you to a bad neighborhood. Talk to me about that. You may not agree or not, but talk to me about, what comes up for you when you think about that.
One key thing to say here is that AI can make mistakes. So we need to be careful about that. So we can't just take everything it gives us as gospel. Sometimes we need to verify what it's saying to us, or ask the AI to verify its response. That's one way to get around that as well. So yes, I do agree with you. An AI is a tool. It's an assistant. It doesn't replace you. It doesn't replace the unique things about you that you bring to the table. AI just helps you through that process. So you've got a thinking process, you've got strategies that you use. You can use AI to help you enhance that. So for example, you need to give a talk in a live event or something like that. You can use the tool. Obviously, you've got what you want to speak around, you've framed it, and then you can use the tool as a copywriter. But you need to be original to yourself. You should generate the concepts around what you can use it to research to help you form your concept. But at the end of the day, AI is a tool to help you. It can help you write the copy for your talk. It can help you with presentations. It can help you with, in my own world, it will help us with writing code and things like that. But at the end of the day, we are the architects of the code. AI is just helping us do the grunt work, making things faster.
Oh, I love that. Right? We're the architects, right? And this is just helping us do the grunt work. If we can think of it that way, then we don't lose our authenticity. We don't lose our originality. You know what I mean? Because I see people, they're like, well, what is the message for my business? Who do I help and all that? They're like, just ask ChatGPT. I'm like, no, no, you don't. No, don't do that. Right. Because the businesses, for most people, it's coming out of you, right? Like, it's not like you're baby and a child that way, but there's something you're trying to do. There's something you're trying to accomplish, right? Like, for Antrim, they have a very specific thing and very specific thing that's driving me. Right. I want to help physicians. We did not get a business education. If we're not helped, the healthcare system in America is going to collapse. And all of these things, I want to help 100,000 people for a very specific reason. Because if I could touch 10%, then I can help, like, all of this stuff. Now, I can take this to AI and amplify it and package it and all of this stuff. But that
Absolutely.
original thought, the direction, all of that, the vision has to come from me. It has to come from me.
Absolutely. I mean, you're the one interacting with the people, remember. If you've got practice, you're interacting with the patients, not the AI. The AI is just there to help you form your ideas or help you with tasks.
Yeah, it does make mistakes, right? Like, I asked it something about statistics on private practices. It's like 23 of private practices do this and 46% do this. And I was like, wait, I've been researching this data. Like, ever since I started on MD 7 years ago, I have never seen these stats. And I'm like, can you cite where you got this data from? And it says, well, actually, like, I was caught in the act.
Yeah.
Actually, there's no direct. I'm like, don't mess with me. Like, don't mess with me like that. So it's a very good tool, but I just want us to realize, like, I'm the boss and AI assists me. And we don't want to ever reverse those roles. I think that takes us to a really, really bad place. Okay, so there's a lot of concerns about AI replacing jobs. So many jobs will be lost. And it's almost like the economic apocalypse, if you will, and stuff like that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so thinking of where we are now, I kind of put them in two buckets, right? You've got jobs that are potentially lower skilled, repetitive, just task-based sort of roles. So like your data entry, some of the tasks that a VA would typically do. I think AI will do some of those things, right? Because they're basic, they're repetitive. There's a well-defined process to them. It's not subjective. It's black and white, right? So AI will do. I mean, if you said to an AI to calculate, if you gave it the right information and to calculate how much tax you need to pay, the rules are straightforward, right? The information is out there. It's mathematics. 1 + 1 still remains 2. That's easy for AI. So I think some of those jobs will go and people will need to upskill into other roles, similar to what happened when computers were introduced. Some job roles did go. Tractors were introduced into farming and the number of people that work on farms reduced. People had to go and pick other jobs or upskill or learn how to, drive a tractor. So those jobs are likely to go in the long run. And there's the other bucket of jobs that are more skilled, like your software developers, physicians. Those kind of jobs, I don't think would go. However, people that don't take advantage of AI may lose their jobs. And the reason for that is the expectations will change. So even from my own perspective, when we're looking at hiring software developers now, the perspective is quite different. If you're not using AI, we potentially would not hire you, because in my world, as a developer, AI would increase your productivity in the region of 30 to 40%. I'm not going to go and hire somebody that's operating at 100%. I need 130 to 140. That's what I'm paying for. So I think those jobs will not be replaced easily. However, the expectations from people working in those jobs will change and have changed, to be fair. An accountant that was probably working on 3 accounts would be expected to work on 6 or 8 because they're using AI behind the scenes. So those are the kind of 2 buckets I see, the ones that are quite likely to be replaced in the short term, and then the more skilled jobs where people would have to adopt AI and increase their output to still remain relevant.
So it sounds like from what you're saying is, at the end of the day, everybody's going to need to upskill. but some people are going to upskill like completely, and some other people are going to learn how to use AI to multiply, probably even exponentially, their output and stuff like that, right? And so what that means is, it really is an adapt or die type of thing. And I think with computers, the uptake was, it was slower in the beginning, and the disruption was like, we're talking dinosaur level slow, right? Compared to what AI is doing, because AI is evolving so quickly that it's disrupting itself. Which means if you're listening to this or you're watching this, you don't have the liberty of taking your sweet time and, trying to figure it out. You want to start applying this in a functional way yesterday, right? But if you couldn't do it yesterday, no time like the present, like, right? Today's
Yeah.
a great day. So, okay. So let's bring this, to our playground, which is entrepreneurship, right? How should physicians think about incorporating AI into their businesses? So I run a business. I'm not doing any AI whatsoever. I heard this, this talk, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I can't be an early adopter, because I think that the early adopter ship has sailed, but I could be, what is next? Where would this person start from? And how should they think about this process of, installing AI in their businesses?
Start by installing ChatGPT. That's the first step. Get access to AI tools, right? I mean, just one will do, like we said, get access to ChatGPT. And I think the way I look at it is an easy way to start is you've got a question that needs answering, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I haven't got time to do that. You've got to change that frame to you've got a question that needs an answer. You can get that answer in 2 seconds. Right. So get it on your phone. That's the quickest way. Because sometimes if you get it on your laptop, you think, oh, when I get back to my laptop, just get it on your phone. Right. You have a question about something in your business. It could be maybe you've got a new piece of software, you're trying to figure it out. You go on ChatGPT, you type the question in there, get the answer instantaneously. You've got a process in your business that you're thinking, wouldn't it be nice if we could make this faster? Just type that into ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT says, and you can have it's conversational. It's not like Google searches where you type in one thing and then you raise that and you start a whole new search, right? It's conversational. You could ask one question after another question. That's how I would say people should start, right? Just think of what a problem you're trying to solve in your day to day. And you don't have to think of the problem. The problem will present itself. Pick up your phone, type the problem out in ChatGPT and ask it for a solution. It's that simple. And always start small. Get familiar with the technology, like I said earlier, and see how you get on. If you get hooked on it, you could ask ChatGPT how to use ChatGPT. It's not good.
I love that. And what I love about the conversation we're having here is, we're not talking about rabbit holes. This is so important. Like, I hope everybody's getting this. This is not you figuring out like, ooh, what can I do with ChatGPT? Like, what new problem can I create that ChatGPT is going to solve? What new project? It's not that. It's literally the things that are driving you nuts in your business now, the things that you're thinking, man, I wish I had time to, the things you're thinking, man, I wish I had somebody on my team who could, like all those things, you think them all day, every day. But prior to AI, there was no way to find the solution from them in a time efficient way, but now you can. Right? Or anything that is like dead work that you have to do, like, oh, we have to write this letter to this insurance company for XYZ. Oh my goodness. Like, now you have somebody who, now ChatGPT will be fine. And it will never have an attitude. It will never call out sick. It will never come late to work. Right? And you can just say, hey, like, this is the letter that is required, boom, boom, boom. It can spit it out. You can edit if you want, boom, done. Right? So it's this thing of, I have problems in my business and I have this tool that is a problem-solving tool, right? And so instead of it creating new stuff for you, you're taking this to make problems go away. That's what I love about this approach. And, and we're going to do a deep, deep, deep dive on this during EntreMD Live. So EntreMD Live is our annual event that we have in Atlanta. It's happening in Atlanta, June the 7th, 2025. And it's going to be so phenomenal because we're there to solve problems. We're there to show you how to be a 7-figure CEO, how to run a 7-figure business, whether it's you're trying to get to your first 7 figures or you're trying to add 7 figures. And one of the things we're going to talk about, and you're listening to the speaker who's going to talk about it, is we're going to talk about how to leverage AI to build a $250,000 team with $20. We're talking $250,000. Like, think of what your business could be like if you can add another $250,000 in payroll, right? Like, as far as team, but you're not adding the payroll. The payroll just costs you $20. Like, that is fantastic. It's the best thing since sliced bread. So if you haven't booked your ticket, entremd.com/live. And actually in the EntreMD Business School, we're taking this so seriously that we have created a whole new section, which is called AI with an ROI, right? It's not AI, the rabbit hole. It's not AI, ooh, this is so fascinating. It's not AI, ooh, learn all the things. It's AI with an ROI. Literally, I'm bringing this tool in. I'm using it in this way to create a return on investment. Then I'm using it this way to create a return on my investment, because I don't want my clients going down rabbit holes. I don't want them outsourcing their brain and their original thought to AI. I don't want this to be the biggest distraction, because for me, it's like the biggest leverage or the biggest distraction. I want this to be a tool that will absolutely change their lives and they use it responsibly. So in the EntreMD Business School, we're going to be doing that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. So Nnamdi, we've talked about this before. Okay, so we'll talk about it again. If you don't know, Nnamdi's my brother, right? He's my brother, and, we come from a family of 4 kids, and 2 of us really love to talk shop, and 2 of us don't want to talk shop at all. So, when I want to talk shop, Nnamdi's the one I call, and, we just talk about changing the world, leveraging entrepreneurship and tech. So much fun. So one of the things I've told you is that, in EntreMD, for instance, I want to build, and in my private practice, right? I want to build this team. Like, I want to have a large team so we can do a lot of stuff in a cost-effective way. And 75% of my team would be AI, and then 25 will be human. Because, for instance, one of the issues we have with private practice is how high the overhead is. And a huge part of the overhead is payroll, right? And I have this project, right, guys? We're not going to talk about it because I have this project. It's in a Google Drive somewhere, and it's called Project 20. Okay, so private practice overhead will run anywhere from 40 to 70% for an insurance-based private practice. I'm like, what if we could make that number 20? Okay, so I'm just bringing into my world. These are the kind of things, my brother and I talk about, just crazy stuff. But how could we bring that to 20, right? 20%. And one of the ways I think we would do that is AI. So, talk to the people. Like, am I nuts? Is this something, is it a project I should pursue? Should I ask ChatGPT how I would do this?
There you go. That's how to use ChatGPT.
So what do you think?
It's doable. Is it doable today? It will take some doing. But what we're seeing in the industry is the speed at which the capability of AI is becoming better and better. It's just, a month is like 10 years right now. It's getting a lot better. It's getting smarter. I think to get to that point, you would have to leverage a lot of, like I said earlier, what is referred to as vertical AI, which is specialized tools. So to take, for example, you've got a system that books appointments, that you use for booking appointments, etc. You might have an AI that is absolutely specialized in booking appointments, which is different from your ChatGPT. You might have an AI that can respond to queries where people ask, oh, do I have an appointment? Or when is my next appointment? I can't remember. You might have an AI tool that responds to that message as well. I think as things progress, and we're beginning to see it, because in my world, in the SaaS world, the businesses, because even the tech world is getting disrupted by AI. So there's some businesses where people pay monthly to use the businesses that are being just eaten up by AI, because AI can just do it, right? Or people can use AI to build those tools for themselves and make it, even work better for them because it's personalized. The tools that will be relevant are those verticals where you're specializing in something. It's almost similar to the roles like data entry. That's general stuff, but you've got specialized things like the lawyers, etc., that are quite specialized. Those are harder to disrupt. So when those tools become more advanced, I think you're going to have a lot of, we can call them AI employees or whatever we want to call them. You would have a few of those verticals and they'll be talking to themselves. They're referred to as agents. And there are a lot of protocols that are being built these days to have these agents, employees able to speak to themselves. So you might have one that is handling scheduling, that is speaking with the system that is holding the information about the patients. So there's all this interesting stuff that is going on. So would you be able to have 75% of your workforce being AI? It's possible. It's possible.
I mean, entrepreneurs were problem solvers, right? And adventure, like we love going on adventure. And, and for me, I've thought about it. It's been a pain point for so long. Like that would be interesting. And it's not so much replacing, when I think about it, it's not so much replacing who I have as it is augmenting who I have and then having who I thought I could never have. You know what I mean? Like I never thought I could afford this person on this team at all, but now I can, right? And so that's something that I'm really looking forward to exploring. But from this conversation, it's like, use the general stuff to the max and start playing around with the specialists and stuff like that. So I'll let you know how the project goes, but it should be a whole lot of fun.
I think you're absolutely right, because the way I think of AI as well is, yes, you can use AI to cut your cost, but it's more fun to use it to grow your revenue.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, say that one more time. One more time for the people in the back. Say it one more time.
So yes, you can use AI to cut your costs, but it's a lot more fun to use it to grow your revenue, right? Let's 2x that revenue rather than cut costs.
Yeah, 2x it, 5x it, 10x it. And if AI is going to lose its mind, we might as well go for it, 100x it, whatever. Any final words you'd leave with, a doc who's, listen, maybe, they're using ChatGPT in some way. Maybe they use it to, get some stuff for their, direction for their social media. And they use it for some, data analysis and things like that. But what would you say to that person? Like, final words you'd leave them with, because you want them to be in a position where they won't be the ones to get disrupted, right? They'll be part of the disruptors. I heard someone say that AI is not going to replace people. The people who use AI will replace those who don't, right? And we want them to be the people who will not be replaced, the people who would be able to function at like the highest level possible, because they have all these tools that they can use.
So one of the things I've found fascinating with AI is, or at least my use of AI is its ability to help me get myself unstuck when I'm thinking. Because sometimes, so for example, you might be thinking, well, I'm using AI in my business, but am I using it the right way? What else could I do? Sometimes that's difficult to think through. But the great thing is that you can ask the AI that question, right? So it happens to me a lot. I might be thinking, oh, somebody said, I want this thing built. And I'm thinking, I have no idea what that is or how to build it. And I just go to the AI at that point where I'm stuck and ask it the question there and then. And the response that comes back is great, because you can then ask it, how should I be using it in my business? And one of the interesting things I've found is if you ask it to ask you clarifying questions, it will throw a whole lot of questions at you that you can answer, and it gives you a great response. So if you're stuck in thinking of how you can use AI, ask the AI how you can use AI. So just prompt it to ask you questions where you get, because usually we think about using these tools as we have to ask the questions, but you can flip it around and say, well, I don't know what questions to ask. So you ask me what questions you want me to ask you, sort of thing. I think that's a nice way to unlock yourself when you get stuck in your thinking.
I love that. I call that the $1 million question, right? Like even after it gives me some really great output, I'm like, now think about this. This employee never has a bad attitude. So I can ask it the same question 10 times, Doesn't get offended. And so I'm like, okay, what questions do I need to answer so you can give me the best possible response? And usually we'll spit out some stuff. And, like I like that you like to type. I'm not about that life. And so I just hit the and I don't like hitting the recording, right, where we're having a conversation back and forth, because I'm so visual. So when it starts reading out all this stuff, I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying because I can't see it, right? And so I use the dictation button. I'm like, ask me whatever. So then, because it gives me 7 questions, like, I don't want to type the answer to some questions. And so I just dictate the answers and all that. And I could go back and forth because it can figure out how to organize it and stuff like that. And I just hit enter. And it's fascinating what responses it gives
Absolutely.
me, right? And I think that's another thing about, being original, being authentic is the more you're able to communicate what it is you want, what you're trying to do, the context, all of that, the better the output you'll get, right? I see people who are like, "Ooh, I don't have to do social media anymore because it's ChatGPT," and it starts spitting out this random, ridiculous nonsense. And when you look at their social media, you're like, there's no way a human being wrote this, like, And yeah, so that question is really powerful. So when you find yourself stuck, right, there's usually a question there. Instead of just sitting with the question, understand that you have a tool now, you have an assistant to help you with that. So that's so powerful. So Nnamdi, thank you. It's almost midnight your time. So thank you for
Agreed.
coming on to
My
chat
pleasure.
and talk, AI and all of that stuff. We're looking forward to hosting you in Atlanta on June the 7th. And again, if you're not registered, guys, on trimd.com/live, this is not one to miss. We are in times like 70% of private practices are owned by some kind of corporate entity, either private equity or a hospital. So many private, physician businesses are going out of business, but physician businesses can thrive. Mine are thriving. I have so many clients whose businesses show this, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that, and also how to position yourself where medicine is being commoditized, AI is here, all of that stuff. How do you thrive in the middle of the disruption, right? Like that's what we're going to look at. So again, on trimd.com/live, super pumped that you could catch this episode. Make sure you share it with the doctors in your world. They'll thank you forever. And Nnamdi, where do people go to find you? Like if they want to chat with you, and you're like, I'm so efficient, I don't chat with people.
I'm on LinkedIn, Nnamdi Chineme, or on Twitter, Chineme.
You guys go follow him. Let him know how great this conversation was, okay? The man stayed up till midnight for you guys, okay? Thank you so much for coming on. And everyone, go share this episode. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Nnamdi podcast.